Hello there everybody, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a camera system. Before we do anything, go to the workspace, scroll down and make sure streaming enabled is off, so when you go far away the cameras are still rendered and you can use the camera system. Let's make the UI now. Make sure you label your camera buttons, the number that you want to assign to the camera. And we're going to turn visibility off the frame, which means the rest are going to turn invisible because they're all inside of one frame. So when you turn the frame visible off, the rest are going to turn off because it's inside of a frame, and we're just going to keep that off. Now that our UI is done, let's actually create our cameras in the game. So you go into your workspace, click the plus icon, and we're going to add a folder called camera. And in here we're going to have our cameras. So insert a part inside of our folder called camera, and we're just going to name this number 1. And on the part you can right click, and one of the things that will come up is called show orientation indicator, and this will show you which way is pointing so we can face our cameras in the correct direction. So let's set up our cameras. Make sure you rename your cameras in numbers so you don't mess up. So the first camera is going to be, the first one is going to be number 1, the second one is going to be number 2, and the third one is going to be number 3. Make sure they're all numbered correctly. Now that all of our cameras are done, we're just going to turn off show orientation indicator, and we're just going to enable it for the others so we can see which way they're facing. As you can see, they're all facing the correct direction. Let's just turn the orientation indicator off. Select all of your cameras and go to shadow, so search shadow in the properties tab, turn off cast shadow, and then we're going to turn off can collide, which basically means you can not collide with it, so you can just walk through it. And then we're going to make our cameras half transparent, which is 0.5, which is semi-transparent. If you want, you can make it full transparent, it doesn't really matter. But for our video, we're going to be doing like half transparent, a little bit more. Now let's insert a script inside our button. We're going to insert a local script, and we're going to remove everything. So when this button is clicked, we want the cameras to show up, and when it's clicked again, we want them to come off. So what we can do is use script.parent. When you do script.parent, it's telling you here this is now referring to the text button, which is our button here. If we go into our properties tab and look at class, and we search class name, as we can see, the class name of the button is called text button, which we know that it's referring to the button because it's referring to its class name, and its class name is text button. So now that we have our script.parent is now talking about our button, so now that's referring to our button, we can do another dot, and with this dot we're going to get for me it's going to be purple lightning rods, and these are going to be our events. And one of our events that we can use is mouse button one click, which basically means if you tap on the button or you click on the button, something's going to happen. And we can actually connect this right directly into a function. So when you click it, a function will directly happen because they're all connected. Because here we're connecting the event to the function, we connect them all together. And now that when it's activated, we want to make our frame visible. We can actually use a sneaky technique that I'm going to be showing you. So we can again do script.parent and if you do parent again, now this is referring to our screen GUI, which is the class name of our cams. And when you do screen GUI, you can do another dot, which means it's going to go inside, and we can select what's inside. So in my case, frame. So script.parent.parent is now referring to our frame. But to make our life easier, we can create variables. So we can do local frame is going to equal to something, and local button is going to equal to something. In our case, button is referred to script.parent. And here we have two .parents. But why don't we just use the button and just add one parent at the end? So button.parent.frame. So we can make our life easier like that. And we can just replace script.parent with our button now, since variables are just replacing long words like that. We can now make the frame.visible is going to equal to not frame.visible, which what this means is it's gonna do the inverse of the frame visible, because here it's like off, so it's going to do the opposite, which is on. So when you click it, it's going to be on, and we click it again, it's going to be off because there's a not here. So it's just going to do the inverse. And now that we actually are able to show our cameras, we can just manually enable it. And then in each camera, we could add a script, but in our case, we don't want to do that because that's going to be too many scripts. So we're just going to insert one normal script inside of our frame, which is going to again be a local script. And we use local scripts in starter GUI as it's just for the player, not anybody else, for them to see, just us. So now that we deleted that in our script, we're going to get all of the buttons here. So we can again use script.parent, which is going to refer to our frame, but we don't want to just manually type like script.parent and then the name of our button, for example 1. We don't want to just manually do that, so we can use something called for a loop, so which loops in the whole frame, so for IV in pairs. And then this is going to get everything in the pairs inside of the brackets. It's going to do something. So in our case, script.parent is going to refer to our frame, as you can see, as you saw frame, and we're going to get children, and then we're going to write do. And what this is going to do is going to get everything inside of our frames one by one by one. But we don't want to just get everything inside. We just want the buttons. We don't want the local script, do we? We just want all of these buttons. So we can do an if statement check, which is going to check if b, which refers to our instance, which is our object. So we're just going to name this object, and I, which is just our number, which is the amount. So if object is a, and this is going to check the class name. If you don't remember what the class name was, the class name was, it actually is originally called, for example, our text bun, before we renamed it to number 1, it was called to text bun. So we can use the class name. So if the object is a text bun, so now the script gets everything inside of our frame except this. So now we have all of these able to be used. So now our object is basically equal to our button. But we don't want to do anything to the buttons other than click them and enable our cameras. So what we're going to do is going to do object, which is our text buttons. When it's again clicked, which we're going to use the event mouse button one click because it's a text button, we can again connect this into a function. And we can directly find the name of the camera, as they're both called the same thing. Number 1 is number 1, number 2 is number 2, so we can easily go and find our camera. So what we can do is make our camera be able to have the position and orientation of the parts in the camera folder in workspace. So we can do workspace.current camera, which is your own current camera .cframe, and what cframe contains is the position and its orientation. It's going to just equal to, and then our part, and we're just going to create a new variable called camera, which is going to go inside of our workspace, inside of our folder, and it's going to find the part. Since they both have the same name, we can just find it easily. We can do workspace object.camera, because that's my folder. And now that we're inside of our folder, we can use find first child. And what we're just going to find is, since they're both called the same thing, we're just going to use the name of the text button, as the text button name is also the name of the camera. So we're going to do we're going to name object.name, as the object name is also the name of our camera. So we can also do if camera, just in case it does not exist. We can also do that. If camera, then the C frame is going to equal to our camera. And now this is referring to an instance. A part is an instance, and a part has its own C frame as well, a position and an orientation. So we can just do .C frame. Sometimes it does not autofill. Like in my case, I had to manually type it out. So that's fine. It just registers it as an instance. It doesn't know it's a part. We could say that it's a part by doing 2 dots, and then we could say it's a part. And now the script thinks this is a part. So if we slowly type camera, as you can see, it's a part now. And if we do, let's say, humanoid, it's going to think that camera is a humanoid part. Sometimes, but we can't actually set it to its C frame unless we set our camera to scriptable, which is one of its properties. If we go and click on our camera, we can go down and see the camera type, fixed, and then we have scriptable. Scriptable basically means that it has nothing, it doesn't do anything, it's just you have to script it. So let's leave our script. Our camera system is done. We can turn this off. And then what we're going to go do is go inside of our button again. We're going to go back inside of our button, and when we click it, we're going to set our camera to scriptable. We can actually do this underneath, so we can check if the frame is visible, which means if it's on, we want the camera to be scriptable. So if frame.visible is equal to true, then again workspace.currentCamera, but the camera type, which is one of our properties, the camera type. And if you read here, it says enum.cameraType. So we're going to do is equal to, and we can't just write something, we have to write enum.cameraType dot, because before it was telling us to use enum. So we're going to have to write enum, then the name of the thing that we're going to be using, and then we can actually choose which one we want. So scriptable, and then here we're going to do else, which is basically going to mean if it's not true, then do this. Before we do, make sure your parts are anchored. Your folder is not the same name of anything else in the workspace. So for example, I have two things in the workspace, camera, also camera. So we're just going to rename our camera folder to camera folder. And we're going to go back in our scripts and just edit minor changes. So here, workspace.camera, we're going to do workspace.camera folder. And then that's it for let's play test the game now. As you can see, our camera cannot be moved, but it can be changed. And if we click off, as you can see, our camera system works. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Turn on that notification, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.